What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast 412, Fight for Purity. A bold way of looking at challenges that young people are facing. We'll talk about the naked truth of life and how to handle the problems you're thinking but not talking about. So strap in, get ready for another great podcast.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. So we're going to continue on our door conversation, okay? So we were talking about basically how she dresses. And so one of the things that I mentioned was just even like maybe you're not a door, but maybe you're close to being that door, kind of. But
you might give the impression that you are.
Yeah.
Because of how you're dressing.
Yeah, and maybe that's not. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't think about it. Maybe you know.
That's not your intention.
It's not your intention, or.
Well, I mean, like we all want to be seen. We want to know we're desirable.
Yeah.
No, we want to know we're pretty.
Yeah.
That someone's looking at us and be like, "Oh, that girl's.
Yeah.
She's nice."
Yeah, and I think there's a temptation to be not to be a door, but to give the impression.
Because you know you'll get looked at.
Yeah. So I think even with that.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Social media is teaching girls to dress like that. Everything that's around the
Well,
billboard.
even the pictures. I mean, what kind of pictures do you guys see of girls on
because you
social
can
media?
be dressed modestly, but the way you pose, you know what I mean? There's a difference.
Face.
There's a difference between sitting like this and sitting like this.
Yeah, and I think even like, when you're looking at fitness stuff and you see them dressing and you're like, gosh, like they look good. I want to look like that, And it's like, but they're not really covered, most of the fitness things,
We're not bashing. It's
but just like, well, you want to look good, is what I'm saying. Like, because I didn't think about like, I'm bringing all these men in to seduce them. I just wanted to look good. Yeah, I wanted to look good and feel good. And it was like, for me, in my mind, I'm dressing for myself. But I didn't think about the other people. Pedophiles or like, all these people, who's looking at me. Like if there's older men looking at me or how I'm affecting younger girls looking at me. I didn't think about any of that. Yeah. When I was.
Or even how a young guy that's, because there are some guys that are trying to keep it PG or PG, yeah, PG. G. They're trying to keep it G. And even for that guy, you could have been,
not even realizing that I'm like hurting them. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is that I think girls, if you're dressing that way, it's because I can't say it's because, but it could be because you have like a lot of insecurities, or maybe you're not confident like in who you are as a person. Maybe you're not confident enough to say, you know what, I'm just going to be who I am. And if someone's attracted, let them be attracted to who I am, not how I'm dressed, not because I look this way or because I'm pretty or whatever, but because wouldn't you rather have somebody be attracted to you? To you, yeah. To you
Not,
as a person,
not to your body.
Well, even
I guess.
before, like I always I was an insecure person, and like with God, that's helping. I just want to throw that out there. It's really helping work through my issues. So now, like just knowing who I am it helps, because before I was insecure. I wasn't afraid to wear like stuff that it really shouldn't be worn out in public, especially at night.
because it's cold. I'm not kidding.
Cold. But like I from personal experience, I really do think it's like insecurities, because you're trying to build that up, try to get that attention that you feel like you need to get. And I always thought that that's all I could offer. Like I would try to like always dumb myself down too sometimes. You're like, oh, but like looking back, it's like, why? Like how does that help? Like
What because you're not really confident in who you are, especially not growing up like with a father figure there, or even anyone to talk, like how we've talked in past episodes, like about not having anyone there even to help build that confidence. I see like with having my husband and my youngest daughter, she's like pretty confident for like herself, you know. And I
Yeah.
think that makes a big difference, because then you're not longing. There's like this longing. So then you want that attention, but then you never feel good enough. So then if you're always second choice to your parents, or your second choice to, even if you are trying to, you know, for me, you know, when I would date someone and then they would choose someone else, it was like, I'm second best, so I have less to offer, but I have my looks, you know. But then they never got to know me. And then when they don't get to know who you are, like, there's always someone better looking. There's always someone that's going to be prettier. There's someone that's going to be younger. Like,
Yeah.
you're never, it's never, like, your looks are never going to be enough. We get old, you know.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, your body changes.
Like you said in the beginning, them hips and thighs.
Gravity starts to take a toll everywhere. Like, your
Yeah.
face, like.
Yeah, so then when you live that life even young, you don't realize, like, what do you have to offer at the end of all that, if that's all you've ever had to offer. You see girls
If you
now.
think that's all there is.
And social media posts, like, well, the Kardashians, you know, like, they have all these face things, they get all these things done to their body. They have money to do that. Like, the average person doesn't have money to spend on that. You know, like,
Barely afford some new pants.
they have personal chefs they can afford to do, you know, pay someone to train them, you know,
Like eating ramen, you know.
yeah. So, like, there's all those things, you know, as you get older too, like, in the real world, not in a celebrity's world, you have, I mean, you get real life, you know, and then eventually you want someone that I guess is compatible with you. And I don't know when I was young, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Like, who is going to be compatible with me, you know, or, you know, not just who looks good
Yeah.
or.
Well, who's gonna put up with you, basically?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, like who's gonna be with you forever? You know.
I mean, really, that's what it's about. I mean, who's gonna have the patience for you, for your personality, you know, for your temperament, you know, for what you like, you know, and who are you willing to put up with? You know, I mean, I know that sounds kind of shallow, or not shallow, but
It's true. It's true. Though. You're gonna be with somebody forever.
Yeah.
It's the good and the bad. You know, you'll get them when they're still looking good, and then you'll get them when we get the dad bods, and you know, and you know everything later.
Yeah.
You know, when those things don't matter anymore.
Yeah. And then if you continue to just be a door, you'll just find, I mean, as you get older, it's not like the pool of great men get, you know, better. Yeah, it's not like you get this bigger pool of men. You just get.
well, you're getting older too, as that's going.
I mean,
along.
like, as you're getting older, you're gonna find more doors.
Yeah.
It's just doors meeting doors.
The leftovers.
You know, like you said, the saloon doors. You know, everybody.
Yeah.
Like you're no longer a sturdy door because you know life's worn you down.
Your door starts breaking down.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody's, you know, it's no longer gonna look attractive. At some point,
It's gonna get.
it's no longer gonna
Creaks
look.
and-
Yeah. You know, sadly, it's gonna be like, you know, my husband says, like an old shoe. You know, it's just. You know, and so. And so I think that's what you really have to think about. You know, if you're, don't be that door. You know, don't be that door, and don't look for that door.
Yeah.
Well, I think like the biggest thing is that people who are doors, girls or guys, because a guy can be a door, like how we're describing a girl, like being seductive and everything. A guy can be the exact same way. You know, he might not dress, you know, the same way a girl might dress, you know, you know, but he can be very seductive with his words, you know. But like the biggest thing I think with people like doors is it's all about the outer. It's all about what they present to you. They're somehow presenting a better choice than everybody else, but it's all looks. It's all on the outside. Because we did that episode about gentlemen's and ladies. You know, like some lists. You know, it's like make sure you know he's clean shaven. You know, that should not be you know like the
gold standard.
the gold
right there.
standard. You know, make sure he brushes his teeth. You know, make sure you know like she showers. You know.
Not that those are bad, but
You know, but like that shouldn't be up here, you know, gold star standards, you know, but like it's just like understanding that doors, like we said, they fade, they get old, you know, things start breaking down. You want something, you know, you want something that's gonna last, you know, and walls last. Like if you look at any kind of structures, like those ruins, it's always the walls that are the last to go.
yeah, it's the strongest. And even when you're talking about like guys being the doors, you know, because there's some sadly there's some dumb girls, you know, they're out there, and because the guys tell you everything that you think you want to hear, you know, that you're not hearing, maybe like you said, from your father, or you're not hearing at home, And so sometimes that's enough. It shouldn't be, but there's, I was a dumb girl, I believed things that, my boyfriend said. They were all lies,
Words shouldn't be enough to
Yeah.
win you over.
Yeah,
There should be
yeah,
more behind that.
Yeah, there should be the actions, Yeah, and so, I know, like, I would convince myself, well, I'm his number one. He might, there's other doors over there, but,
He comes home to me.
yeah, but I'm the main door.
Man,
But-
which is like so sad.
Yeah, but you settle, you settle for that. And even as a girl, we're talking about the girls here, but like she said, the other way around is we settle too for guys that just say the right thing. Shouldn't just be what he says. That shouldn't, that's a very low standard. If you're just, oh, he said I was pretty, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna start a relationship with him because, so yeah. but yeah. So moving on. One of the other characteristics here was that she's aggressive. So she's aggressive. She's the one that like takes initiative. She's the one that pursues. She's the one that gets like crosses that boundary, physical boundary with you.
She sees that hole, like how you said when we talked in the boundaries. She's the one that.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's already broken. Let's.
Yeah.
Or he.
Or he. Or he. Yes.
Yeah. So she's aggressive.
We're all about gender equality.
But yeah, so she's aggressive and persuasive. And then the one thing, like kind of the last thing, I guess, I don't know, maybe we should, but one of the things is that as a guy, as if you're the victim, if you're the prey, the one thing that you don't realize is that she's leading you down like a no good street, but basically it says that you're just going to be like a piece of bread. And so back in the days, they used to use bread as napkins. So they'd get a bread and they'd wipe them and then they'd just throw it.
Throw it to the dogs. The dogs would eat it.
Yeah. And so you don't realize as a young man that she's taking, you on a trip. Yeah. And you're just going to be like a piece of napkin. You just be a piece of bread and, and she's done. And so you're just giving away your strength. I think a lot of guys think, well, I'm the conqueror, I'm the guy, I'm the one that has, like the power and, I've got it, but you
Almost
don't.
like we said, we don't think about the consequences.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of the fallout
Yeah.
of what happens when she leaves.
For both?
For both of you,
Yeah, because it says you're like the ox to slaughter. You're basically, she's taking your strength. Think about an ox. I mean, an ox is like this big brute of an animal, strong, but she's just leading you. You're just following. Oh, here I go. With no resistance, with no fight, no nothing.
Because she convinced you with her words.
Yeah.
And the way she
With her
dressed.
looks, the way she
Yeah.
smelled, the way.
Yeah, and then just think about like even today, when you see a guy and a girl in a relationship, it's sometimes it's the girl that's got the power. It's the girl that dictates. Okay, we're going here, we're doing this, we're doing that. She's leading you. You might be the guy, and you're, but she's the one. Yeah. But she's the one that's saying, everything. She's the one that's dictating where the relationship is going, what you're doing, who you're hanging out with, and all that. But I don't think guys see that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, the aggressiveness. It's not just going to be in her or him pursuing you, It's going to be in every aspect. They're going to end up controlling, what you do. When you text back, when you call, what you spend your money on, who you spend your money on.
How much?
How much of it? Yeah, well, I mean, and like from stories I've heard from women who are like that, they get super jealous. Even if you're spending time with your family, they're like, you're spending too much time with them. Like, what about me? Like they're aggressive in that sense, and that they take you away from everything else because, like we said earlier, they're selfish. People like that are selfish because they're just thinking about them. They're not thinking about you and your family, whether you have your own family or not. Your siblings, your parents. They're not thinking about the impact it's going to have on all the other people around you. They're just you need to be all mine kind of thing.
Yeah, and the aggressiveness can come through manipulation of emotions, crying, or whatever it is, you know, like their backstories to lure you in, you know, well, men too, you know.
If you
but-
love me, you wouldn't treat me
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah. I think even like in your finances, I think a woman that's like that we're describing, I think even with her, she's like, she'll spend and not care. You know, she'll blow money and, you know, well, you have to buy me this, you have to buy me that, you have to, you know, I have to dress this, get this, you know.
It's like we said, it's all
Yeah.
on the outwards.
Yeah.
It's all on the out, you know, and what's, like we said, it doesn't last. And like you said earlier, what sucks is that at the end, when you decide you don't want to be a door anymore, you know, and you're trying to like find somebody who's going to put up with you, like we said, like you want to be somebody's forever, you know, you won't know what to do.
Yeah.
You won't know how to treat the other person right. You won't know what you have to offer besides just the outside, because that's all you focused on for so long. You have your own other issues in your life that you never worked out because all you focused on was on the outside. And so when you get into a relationship, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to treat them. I don't know how they're supposed to treat me because I never let anybody treat me right.
Yeah, so that's the danger of the culture today, though, of starting so young doing that, because like kind of the women that we're talking about the finances and stuff is kind of like an older, like seems like more older, but like you can start that in your teens, doing that, being a door, you know, just by the way you're dressing, if you're following certain people on social media, or you're following certain people's examples or their bad advice, you know. You know, if you're following all that bad stuff, like you start that young and it starts to diminish your self-worth and your self-esteem, your confidence, everything. And then as you get older, you don't think about like when you're out there and you're like, well, all these guys hurt me, you know, because sometimes it can come hurt from violations. It can be you're that way because you got in relationships too young and you got hurt, whatever it may be. That gets you to that point. When you get older, you're like, you know, this seductress, you know, but it all starts somewhere. So when you're doing that young and you're following those examples, it's like you don't realize the damage that you're doing, because I've talked to a few people about this on like this subject of people that were like that, and I was like, we were just having a conversation about it, because I was like, I didn't think about the consequences, and I didn't think like, oh hey, like I'm hurting myself and my future down the road, I'm gonna have issues. I've talked about it before, like I've had to work out stuff in my marriage, you know, how you're saying like you don't even know how to treat the person. Like I'm like learning how to be a wife and stuff, you know. I didn't have a good example you know, growing up, so like I'm learning how to do all that, like from the hurt, and then, well, I'm gonna use this guy to go out to eat, or I'm gonna use this guy for whatever, you know, see what's up. I may not sleep with them, but I'm gonna still use them. Yeah, but you don't realize that when you're the door that allows everyone into those intimate parts of your life, that you're not empowered by it. There's this whole false empowerment, and you're not. You know, you can be the girl that's like, well, get out of my house, like I'm done with you, but you lose.
You end up alone.
Yeah, you end up alone, and it's not real power. That's like a false sense of, you know, power.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about, I was asking someone like, what, like when they live like that, she's like, I didn't think about like, you know, in my mind, I was the one, like I made the decisions and I used you how I wanted. But I mean, in the end, she's like, the men were actually using me, you know, they got what they wanted out of me, and I was alone. Yeah, I was alone at the end, she said.
You didn't know how to be alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's bad, is that you're so focused on the outside, you don't know who you are anymore, you know, and you don't know how to work on yourself, you know, and you don't realize that there is more to you than just the outside, you know, than your looks, than your clothes, and the money, than all the things that are supposed to like give you power now, you know, like there's so much more like to you than that, but you have to keep that in mind when you're younger, like especially like in middle and high school, because it's such a big thing, giving that image that you're okay, you know, or that you're beautiful or being attractive. That's especially for girls. It's a big thing that you have to be attractive, you know, but like not realizing that doesn't really matter, you know. like as you get older, relationships, you know, like it's all pushed, you know, like we're talking about being like seducing, that all has to do with relationships, and that plays such a big role when you're a teenager, and that's usually where all the hurt comes from. When we're older, is because of our dumb decisions as teenagers. You know, but it's because we thought the relationships was the answer, I guess, or was gonna help us somehow. You know, but it didn't, because I think you've said it, or at least in our own conversations, is that like the relationship, a girl or a guy, is not the answer. It's not gonna fix
what's going on inside,
what's going on in your head, what's going on in your heart, like your own insecurities, like you said, the reason you're dressing like that. That relationship isn't gonna fix that. You're still gonna feel that way eventually. You know.
Yes, then as you get older, you just carry that hurt. And then, you know, you try to do everything on the outer, how you were saying, like with the money, like, let me fix this up. Let me, if I do this, then I'll be good enough. I'll feel better about myself. And then it'll never be enough. Yeah. Never enough until you fix, like what you're saying, the inside.
Never
so,
enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we're okay. And, you know, and that all kind of concludes with what I came up with. Was at the very end, it says she kind of ends up in poverty. That's like her end, is she ends in poverty. And basically, because you're out there and you're just giving it all away for free, really, you know, because you're not asking for anything in return, technically. You're just giving, but you're just, you know, we talked about, you're giving it all away. You know, you're so worried about what you know, about the outward. You're so worried about your body and how you look, you know, and really the whole thing is, you know, is being sexy. You know, that's like what's promoted, you know. You got to look seductive, you got to look sexy, you got to, you know, but you're giving all that away, and slowly you're just stripping it all off, you know. So by at the time that you end up, you don't have anything. You don't even know who you are. You're so busy accentuating your body figure that you don't know how to build who you are. Like, you don't know how to accentuate the good things about yourself, you know, about your personality, about your creativity, or whatever it is that, you know, that makes you, you know. You have no idea how to do that. Like, and then you come and it's poverty.
Yeah. And then you don't realize too, like when you're young, that like, even though if you're dressing a certain way or whatever, and you're thinking like, oh, everyone's looking at me good, like these guys aren't looking at you like, oh, she's a winner, you know, like she's what I want, you know, like they're saying things behind, you know, like they're having conversations with their friends about you. They're saying
about,
you know,
what an easy door you are to open.
Yeah, and telling their friends like, well, don't get with her because she's this or that, you know.
She's a door.
Yeah. Pretty much she's a door, like she'll get with anybody, you know. So like, even though you think you're empowered, you know, it's, you know, there's all these things being said about you, and there's this reputation that you're building. And
nobody wants to be looked at like that. You know. And I think, well, like for us, like Angelique said, you know, she's working on those things now, you know. You know, but like one of the biggest things, because you mentioned it earlier, is like our relationship with God, at least for everybody here at this table, you know. That's what we have used to work on ourselves, so that way we're not portraying this image, that way we're not relying on what we look like, you know, or what we sound like, you know, when we talk to people, you know. We're working on the inside, on the things that matter truly, like in the end, you know, on our own issues and everything, you know, about being okay without being in a relationship, you know, being okay, you know, being by ourselves, you know, and it's okay.
You can be alone and not lonely.
And then really the whole aim is not to make you feel like down on, if you're that door, or if you've been a door, or you're,
there's hope.
You know, there's hope.
You can change.
You can change. You don't have to continue to be a door. And hopefully we get to talk a little bit about what it is to be a wall. You know, because you can do that. You can start, you know, building some walls in your life, because that's, you know, but so it's not to, you know, discourage you, but it's
just telling you that there's more than just outside.
And then just examine, like, I mean, think about some of the things that we talked about, you know, because maybe you're that way and you don't realize, you know, I'm being a door, you know, I don't need to be a door. And so our encouragement is that, you know, you start to really think about what you're doing and how you're conducting yourself, the things that you say, you know, but basically that you matter and you don't have to be a door. So
better than that.
Yeah.
You're important.
Yes, of value. So
You have value. Great
yes.
value.
So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Join us for our next podcast. You can contact us through Instagram at podcast412 or email us at 412fight@gmail.com. See you next time.